Hello everyone, this is John Hudson, your Government Affairs Chair with NAMB, the Association of Mortgage Professionals. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Well guys, here it is. Our 540 pages of the Loan Originator Compensation Rule just released. And I gotta tell you what, right off the bat, it's not necessarily too bad. It does appear that your industry's efforts to consult with the CFPB on a lot of this has actually taken effect. So for example, loan originators will now be able to lower their compensation to pay for certain tolerance issues. The CFPB has done away with the 0-0 alternative that was in there. The CFPB has also leveled the playing field a little bit more in terms of loan originator qualification standards. And on top of that, the CFPB is now saying that mortgage brokers can pay their loan originators on a consumer paid transaction. So this rule takes effect on June 1, 2013. Not too bad. One thing I do want to point out here, though, is that the CFPB did use their special powers granted them under Section 1403 of the Dodd-Frank Act, which would have basically eliminated or called for a prohibition of points and fees paid for by consumers, period, thus forcing the whole industry into a 0-0 alternative. So I love the fact that the CFPB used their special exemptions authority here on the LO compensation rule, but yet they have not decided to use their special exemption rule here in this 804-page behemoth called the Qualified Mortgage, in particular on that 3% cap on points and fees. Now I get it. No one wants the consumers out there to be charged or paying excessive points and fees like what was called for in the CFPB's press release when they were going to roll out the QM. But I think they're a little bit disingenuous with that, because when you dive down deep into the 804 pages that we have here, it's pretty clear that the definitions that they use for how to calculate that 3% points and fees definitely does not level the playing field. It definitely puts the CFPB in a position of picking industry winners and losers. And I don't believe, and they're using this all under the guise of congressional intent, but I tell you what, I don't believe that the congressional intent was to squash small business mortgage originators out there. I truly don't believe that. So it's apparent that we're not going to be able to get this one section here fixed under the by dealing directly with the CFPB. We've called on some brief panels. In fact, if you look below, there's a link to a video where Senator Crapo is even asking Director Cordray why he doesn't want a SABREFA panel on the qualified mortgage. And he states that, well, A, there is not enough time, and B, stating that because it was a rule that they had adopted from the Federal Reserve Board, that they're not required to hold the SABREFA panel. Which is kind of funny, because over here on the LO compensation rule, they did hold the SABREFA panel on it, and that was a rule that they had adopted from the Federal Reserve Board. So it's obviously pretty apparent that what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. And again, the CFPB is being put in a position of picking industry winners and losers. So what are we going to do about it? Well, I'll tell you what, we're definitely going to need to ramp up our war chest here. I've been getting lots of emails and phone calls in the last week and a half from people concerned all throughout the country about what are we going to do. And a lot of them in particular asking, well, how come the realtors are never getting picked on here? And my answer is pretty consistent in that when I say that A, they've got 100% participation, and B, they've got one of the largest war chests in Washington, D.C. So we're going to have to, it'll be impossible to match it, but we definitely have to ramp it up, get more people to join, support NAMB in our efforts, and then also help us ramp up our war chest so that way we can get these items fixed legislatively. I say all the time that this is not a mortgage broker issue. This is not a mortgage banker issue. This is truly a consumer issue. Because what's going to happen is eventually there's going to be less choices for borrowers out there, less competition. And again, I don't think it was the congressional intent of the Dodd-Frank Act to promote the policies of too big to fail institutions. Yet I think the intent of Dodd-Frank was to help prevent that. So yesterday when President Obama was inaugurated, he said in his speech, "Together we discovered that a free market only thrives where there are rules to ensure competition and fair play." Well, I tell you what's happening right now is we are not seeing a future of competition and fair play. No, we're seeing a future of small businesses being squashed by burdensome regulations that truly have no bearing on a consumer's ability to repay a loan. So if I take two identical loans, same payments, same down payment, same FICO, same everything, and we get all the way down to, after that loan has been underwritten, we get all the way down to closing, and the manner in which that loan is funded is going to determine a borrower's ability to repay? Well, by their definitions in this 804 pages, it will. So, again, I think that's a little bit disingenuous to assume that the qualified mortgage and their 3% cap on points and fees from affiliates and loan originator compensation has anything to do with the consumer's ability to repay. Yet, just another instance of, again, regulators deciding who's going to win and who's going to lose within the industry. So support us, support those that support you. Join us in Washington, D.C. on March 10, 11, and 12 as we take our fight to Capitol Hill to help educate our lawmakers about the ramifications and unintended consequences of such poorly crafted regulation. Because here's what's going to happen. Less consumer choice, which is going to ultimately equal less access to affordable credit for consumers out there. And in particular, the low to moderate income consumers who are definitely going to be impacted the worst by this 3% cap in points and fees. So, with that, I'm John Hudson. Join us, support us, and let us know your thoughts. Email me at governmentaffairs@namb.org. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.